everyone, my name is Remington, or Squiditis as my YouTube channel name suggests, and welcome back to Super Mario World. So, in the last episode, we finished World 3, Vanilla Dome, I think it was called, and I promised you guys a rant about Publix, the grocery store chain. I'm throwing away any kind of sponsorship, brand deal, anything with Publix, but you know what? They can keep it. And I'm not a very big channel anyway, so I can't see why Publix would ever possibly want to have some kind of, oh, come on, sponsorship or anything with me. But Publix, working there is just garbage. Shopping there is fine. They have plenty of good oh, come on. They have plenty of good deals, everyday low prices, and the customer service is stellar because it's forcibly pounded into your brain from orientation that the customers are kings and queens and they must be treated as such. I mean, how many other grocery stores do you know make their employees walk the customer out to their car and put groceries in the car? Like, unless an old lady is like really frail and maybe asks somebody to help her to her car. But even then, like, would a Walmart really do that? Would like a Walgreens or a Giant, a Safeway, would any of those stores do that? Maybe Giant or Safeway, but I have a hard time seeing any Walmart employee walking a customer out to their car and putting groceries in their car. But that's what Publix was all about. And the other thing is that whether the customer wanted it or not, you had to just start walking them out. And then the customer would have to like grab the cart and be like, and pull it away from you and be like, no, that's okay, I can walk it myself. Because if you didn't do that, then one of the managers who are hovering over you all the time, because that's where they hang out by the cash registers to watch all the baggers and cashiers and make sure that they're, you know, getting service with a smile and treating every customer as if they're king and queen. And so, like, if you didn't start to push and pull their carriage away from them, they would think that you're not doing your job. And then they'd come over to you and be like, so, you're doing a good job. You know, nothing negative to say, but next time it's really important that you walk the customer out to their car. And if they don't want it, then they will tell you. But your automatic option has to be walk them out to your car. And it's like, come on, man. I mean, some people loved it. You know, Florida, there's a lot of old people there. Old people love to talk. I had this one guy keep me out in the parking lot for like a solid half hour, which was fine, you know, because I was getting paid for it. I was on the clock. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can't deny a customer a service or request or something like that. Like, they even told you that, like, if a customer wants to talk to you in the parking lot a little bit, you don't go away. Don't be rude. Let them finish their thought and talk with them. Because Publix's whole thing is, like, we have regular customers. They come back. You know, they expect good service every time that they come here. And which was true. There were some people that did shop at the same Publix regularly. There were some people from across town that would come to my specific Publix because it was clean and the service was good and everything else like that. So, you know, I stood out there in the parking lot for like a solid 30 minutes while this guy was telling me, like, get out of Florida as soon as you possibly can. There's nothing here. It's a dead end. If you ever want to join the military, get into the Air Force if you can. Which I don't know if I could do the Air Force because I wear glasses. So I think they want people with like 20/20 vision to fly in the Air Force. Same as pilots flying commercial airplanes. I don't think I could. I mean, maybe I could be like ground patrol or do some other things related in the Air Force. But anyway, that's what he told me to do. He was like, if you ever decide to join the military or something, go in the Air Force. And then he also continued to tell me like another like 10-minute conversation about how he wanted to play ball when he was my age. He was like, when I was your age, I wanted to play ball. Now I wanted to go to majors, but life doesn't always work out the way you want it to. So get out of Florida as soon as you possibly can. Yeah, he was a nice guy. Very touchy. He touched my arm a lot, but I think that's just kind of like what old people do. You know, they like human contact. Because I mean, he's not the only one that would like touch me on the arm or something while I'm having a conversation. I remember this other lady who was like a cashier at a Pet Boys. She was like apologizing to me about something because she like screwed up my receipt or something like that. And she was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. Let me fix that." And she kind of like touched my arm as she was apologizing. But anyway, so that was Publix, you know? It's just service. Customer service. Most important thing. But, you know, and, like, they promise you all kinds of benefits and stuff. Like, if you work with them for, like, 15, 20 years, like, that's when all the benefits and everything kick in. If you work at Publix for 5 years, you get a little star on there, on your name tag. And it's just like, yeah, you know, I mean, and there were some people who had, like, freaking 3 or 4 stars on their name tag. Like, all they've ever done is just Publix. I don't know why. I hated it. I never even made it to cashier. For a year and a half, I was a bagger and nothing more. And there are some really rude people that super take advantage of the whole customer service thing because they know that you can't talk back. And they're very, they're very specific about how they want their groceries bagged. I remember this one lady, I was bagging her groceries. And, you know, I guess I bagged something wrong that she didn't like. And she was like, no, what are you doing? The bread goes on top of the eggs or whatever it was. I don't even remember what it was. But she was like, I know it's your first day and we all have to start somewhere, but you can't be making mistakes like that. And it's like, lady, I've been working here for over a year at this point. And it was like, I know how to bag groceries. I can't read your mind. How am I supposed to know you want your eggplant bagged with your cucumber, but you want to keep your bananas separate from your apples? Like, tell me how you want it bagged. That's my job. Oh, hey, it's a rocket ship. Like, you don't need to go and, like, insult people like that. Oh, the poor mountain has a band-aid now. Ludwig von Koopa's days of composing Koopa symphonies in Castle Number 4 are over. The Forest of Illusion lies ahead. Mario must use his brain to solve the puzzle of this perplexing forest. So on to the forest now. Yeah, I can go on for hours about Publix. Don't even get me started. And I haven't worked a retail job since. Unless library counts as retail, but whether it's retail or not, I love working in a library. I've worked in like 3 libraries, I think. Yes, 3. I volunteered in 1, and then I actually worked at 2. And one of them was actually the library on my university campus in Baltimore. That was a fun job. I worked the AV. I would like check in and out of recording and camera equipment to the students and everything else like that. But I did work in an actual library for the longest time, shelving books, and it was a lot of fun. You know, it's quiet. I would peruse the books sometimes. I loved helping people find their books, like because I knew the library. You know, I'd been going there for a long time before I got the job. Like that was the library I would go to. And, you know, when people would ask me, like, where's this section or where can I find this book, I loved helping them. I loved walking them over and directing them to where the book was. And I would honestly feel kind of bad if I couldn't answer their question because, I mean, I knew most things, but not everything. That's why we had an information desk. And actually, interesting enough, one of the things they told us was don't help the patron if they ask for it. You're supposed to direct them to the information desk. If they're looking for a book, just point them our way. I guess because they got bored over at that desk, you know, if nobody was going over to ask them where books were, they would have nothing to do. But I didn't abide by that rule. Most of the other library pages there didn't abide by that rule either. And, you know, our supervisor knew about the rule, and they knew that most people didn't follow it, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of dumb. I mean, like, if somebody's asking about a book in your section, I worked 3 sections, but the juvenile nonfiction was the one I worked the longest. That was, like, my section. That was the one that I knew, like, the back of my hand. But I started working in the juvenile fiction section, and then by the end of my time working at that library, I was shelving the adult nonfiction books. But, like, if I knew where a book was and it was in my section, I would just, point people to it. It's like, oh, do you have books on ladybugs? I'd be like, yeah, it's over here. And I'd even pull out a couple books because I know what they're talking about. And I've shelved these books 5 billion times. It was a wonderful after-school job. Like, the hours were flexible. The pay was good. It was a little over minimum wage. I got paid a little bit more than $7.25, so that was pretty cool. Hours were kind of not that great because it was part-time, but it worked out great during the school year. And then during the summer, when people would go on vacation or whatever, or they were short-staffed, I could work more hours and get paid more money that way because I was paid by the hour. And, there was like a little sign-in clipboard. There wasn't like a punch-in, punch-out. Which, another thing about Publix, is there was this electronic clock that was like punch-in, punch-out, but you had to work exactly on the dot. Like the manager would get so angry when people would check in, even like a minute sooner or later than they were supposed to. They're all like, now I get it. No, things happen. You get stuck in traffic, but please try to check in and out as close to your time as possible. And then if you happen to check in a minute or two under or over when you're supposed to check in, then please just work those 1 or 2 minutes and check out at the proper time. Like if you were scheduled to work 2 hours, they wanted you to work 2 hours. Like you couldn't get away with clocking out 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late. Like they wanted it 2 hours on the dot, and it's like everybody had to be perfect. Whereas at the library, there was a little sign-in clipboard. So it's like, if you got here at like 2 o'clock, then write 2 o'clock. But, if you have to get out of here by 5, if you have to get out of here 5 minutes early, or, like you finished your section and there's really nothing else for you to do, then just go home, sign out. They'll pay you for whatever it is you worked. It was so chill over there. Like their thinking was, as long as you work X amount of hours by the end of the week, then we're all good. Like, as long as by the end of the week you've worked, like, 10 or 20 or however many hours it is you're supposed to work every week, then everything's all good. Everything's all chill. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't, they still want you to come in every day. Like, that's the thing. But, one day you might work 2 hours, the next day 3 hours, the next day maybe you only work like an hour and a half. But why would you come into work just to work an hour and a half? That was the thing. They were pretty chill, but why would you waste all of your time and gas to come to the library just to work an hour? Unless you were busy and you had something else to do that day, which you would just tell them about, because you can't just be working an hour every day and then come in on a Friday and work 10 hours just to get to 15. They still expected you to work it was kind of like an honor system, we were all like a family over there, we all, it was great. It's like if you had somewhere to be or something to do, everyone was very understanding of that. It's like if you have a doctor's appointment, all right, maybe just work what you can today and then make up for it tomorrow or whenever you can. But if you were just lazy and you just didn't want to come into work, well, that's a different story. That's not cool. Man, I miss that library. It was so fun. So many fond memories. And I used to work with this guy, too, who was a friend of mine in school. Actually, you know what? We'll end it off here, and I'll tell you guys a little story about when I used to work at the library. What level is next? Are we making progress? Ghost house. Okay, this one's going to be fun, because if I remember, there's 2 exits. One of them's just going to lead to the right, and we're going to loop around, and then the other one actually leads out of the forest, if I recall. I hope. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you had a fun time. I really do appreciate you watching this and spending some time with me. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.